one thing you mentioned earlier was about value add. We want to add value to the assets that we acquire. A lot of
Hmm.
people, especially having come from the single family space, they have an idea of what it costs to do plumbing. They have an idea of what HVAC or roofing material is going to be, but
Right.
it's not the same. You're not using the same kinds of materials, and
Mhm.
for different reasons, right? Of course, it depends on where you're building, but that capex and understanding the renovation aspect of it, understanding what's needed, big or small, going
Mhm.
into this new acquisition of yours is vitally important. I mean, how do you add value effectively? Let's say, just to give you an example, I'm not going to go worst case scenario because I think that would be an easy one. Let's go into something where, okay, we have a property that's operating well. Maybe
Mhm.
it's a mom and pop, something that, it might be 100 unit in Central Florida, which you and I know would be ridiculously expensive, at least from my perspective. But,
Mhm.
it's those are big deals. Like buying 100 units in middle Georgia might cost you, 3 million bucks. Take that same property and put it in Central Florida. it's
20
you
million.
start,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
you're gonna start adding zeros.
Yes, you will.
We're gonna put
Yes,
another
you will.
comma in there somewhere. But you buy something like that that's performing well, but it's a mom and pop, and
Mhm.
there's things they haven't done, but people are happy. It's clean, it's neat. You
Mhm.
at its current rate, maybe it's operating. Maybe you buy it at a 4 or 5 cap as it currently is operating, based on the numbers you're looking at now. But because of the experience you have, you look at it and say, hey, we can do this. It's operating well, but we can add these things, or we can save money on these things over here, which is going to save us money. What kind of things are you looking at when you're acquiring something like that you're not going into and to have to, redo all the plumbing, to redo all the electric, something that operates well, but it's
Yeah.
the maybe just the smaller things that you can cut out or add to. How do you do that? And how do you calculate for that when you're doing your numbers?
Yeah, so it starts with, and actually, if you go to our YouTube channel, we on that YouTube channel is a little video I did. It's called the Jacksonville Turnaround Story. It's a property that we bought in Jacksonville.
What's
We
your
held it,
YouTube channel?
KRI Partners.
Got it.
But you go there, there's a bunch of videos on there, but I talk about the Jacksonville turnaround story because what I did with that video, I get this question a lot. How do you guys add value? What do you do? What kind of things do you do? They're trying to understand what it means to be in the day-to-day business of what KRI does. So I did this video, I narrated it myself. It's not the most exciting video, but what it does, I do a lot of before and afters. I talk through why did I buy the property? What did we see? You'll see when I bought it, it was no star, right?
Right.
But it was in a great area. So I talked through what did I identify up front, how did I figure out what needed to be done, and then why I wanted to do what I did. So let's now. I've taken you to that video. Watch it. It'll be I think you'll find it to be interesting. But now let's go back to how we analyze these value add deals. So I look at a property. I always start with neighborhood. You got to start with neighborhood. We just don't buy in rough neighborhoods because it's really hard to add enough value there or to get people to pay more in rent. So we stick to good neighborhoods. Then we're looking for an asset that has something that is cool about it, right? I need to be able to find a way so that when somebody goes to that property, there's something that tugs at them emotionally. It's like, this place is kind of cool. It depends on the property as to what that thing is. But that Jacksonville story happened to be a very residential feel. It had a pond on the backside. It had lots and lots of green space. Okay, so that's how I thought, you know what? I can make this property a lot nicer than it is today.
Mhm.
It just wasn't well run. We felt like it could be more than it was today. So now, okay, I have an idea. This sounds fantastic, but is it economically feasible? That's when you have to go get out your little Excel spreadsheet and say, okay, if I'm going to do this, and that particular property, we had to do all the roofs, we painted all the exteriors, we did some improvements, we fixed up the amenity package, and we piece by piece, I tried to estimate exactly what each one of these things cost. So in that case, we kind of backwards underwrote it. So I said, okay, if I do all of these things, I think I can get rents to a certain point. How do I know I can get those rents? Because I went out and I got on my little Google Maps and I looked at all the apartment buildings nearby, and I figured out exactly where my competitive set is now. And if I made it nicer, what would my new competitive set look like? And if a renter was looking in that price range, what would they expect? And could I provide that, and could I be competitive? So I knew where my rents could go. I knew what I wanted to do the property. I knew what the seller was asking. So now I put all this together to say, okay, if I pay this and I invest all this money based on my detailed renovation plan, and I add this much value through new rents, increased rents, is it going to provide enough value that we can make money? That's literally how we do this process. And what I do then is I may or may not like the initial result, depending. So what I then is I go back and I scrutinize my plan. Okay, do I really need to do this or that? And so I really nailed down our renovation plan so that everything we do is either dealing with deferred maintenance because we don't have a choice, or it will clearly add value to the property and make someone want to pay more to live there. And so that's how we do our value add plan. You see, our plan works because if you think about anything in business, you can't just buy a business and things just happen and you make money. It has to be very purposeful, right? So when we buy that property, we're very deliberate about every single thing we do. We are adding value because that's how you can consistently make money in business, is actually create value for the world. And when you do that, you can charge more for it, and then you can make money. And if you like the content that we've shared here, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell. So thank you again, and have a wonderful day.